enthusiasts, and welcome to Scaled Affairs, the show where I take a closer look on anime figures of all sorts. So sit back and relax while I'll show you what's maybe worth adding to your collection. Today's figure is Amakunis Nelke von Lestamm from the Atelier game series. Nelke came to me in a windowless box that for a 1:7 scale figure and a recognized manufacturer like Amakuni is kinda unusual. The box itself is fine if a little bit crowded with design elements, but I always have the strange feeling that a figure in a windowless box has something to hide. Inside the box you find the figure embedded in a normal plastic blister that even has a cutout part for her face, or at least it's implied since there is still a clear layer of plastic where the hole should be. I don't know why they even bothered with this feature if you can't see the figure when still boxed. Mounting Nelke is very easy. The slightly shimmery base has two solid metal pins on where Nelke's feet slid on nicely. After that the figure has a firm stand and you can choose if you want to display her with or without the headgear. The head itself is held in place by a magnet, and I'm always a fan when manufacturers choose this method of a mounting device. I know in my last episode I teased you with another figure, but sadly she got delayed and Nelke here was on sale, so I had to grab her. I will go into this into more detail later on, but first let's have a quick overview. On the right side I've compiled some of this figure's key specs. Nelke belongs to a dying subcategory of figures I like to call simply standing figures, or SSFs for short. These days companies try to outdo each other when it comes to dynamic poses and base design in order to justify constantly rising figure prices. And I get it, who doesn't like a cool action-packed release? But for me as a figure photographer, a SSF has its own charm to it because they are much more versatile when it comes to backdrops and sceneries you can put them into. But what Miss von Lestamm lacks in the dynamic pose department, she makes up for it with some fancy detailed clothes and a fine paint job. Her whole outfit is streaked with those gold ornaments and lines, and they even incorporated a semi-translucent color gradient on her skirt. Some of the gold elements do look a bit flat though, like the pocket openings and all the buttons, but then you have amazing details like the garter that grave into her leg and the detailed sculpted cleavage and back section with the bodies. Another highlight are her large blue boots that are also covered with these gold elements, and the whole golden seam carries nicely over to the base that features her name, the title of the game and some ornaments. I think the base looks good and has the perfect size for a figure that tall. But indeed, even for a 1:7 release with her 25 centimeters, Nelke is a tall figure. Some of that height is owed to her headpiece with the feathers, but even without that she towers over most of my other Atelier figures in the showcase. I already mentioned that the head is a magnetic headgear and surprisingly well sculpted. I especially like how thin the brim is and all the fine red lines on the headband. Underneath the headpiece hides a slightly shimmery and well crafted hairstyle. Her facial expression also looks fine, although a bit more blush like in most of her artworks would have made it even more striking. Another great detail for photographers is that Amakuni used completely flat colors for her eyes. This might result in a bit of a dull expression, but also negates unwanted reflections. In conclusion, this release of yet another Atelier series main character is definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the games or if you like figures with elegant clothing that aren't too skimpy dressed. It's a tall figure where for a 50,000 yen base price you don't pay extra for any frills or gimmicks. I for myself was lucky to snag her during a Nippon Yasen sale and ultimately ended up paying less than 90 euros, already including taxes and shipping. And of course, if you not only get a nice new figure for your collection, but also an inexpensive one, it lets you look back at your purchase with a bit of fondness. Next time, well, I won't make any predictions that turn out to be false again, but according to the release schedule, the next reviewed figure on this channel should be another Nando. So I guess this wraps it up for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you again in the future for another episode of Scaled Affairs. Until then, take care, keep collecting, and sacrifice your wallet, kun!